Good morning. Am I audible?
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
audible.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Still now many students are absent.
Sir, I think there are few students that you may have missed adding them to the MS Teams.
Yeah, maybe because in lab I think everyone is added, but in classroom theory class probably all of you are not added. So I can share a link at this moment.
Sir, I've already shared the meeting link with everyone.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you. Okay. At this moment, 35 minutes a day. Okay, fine. So let us start this. Okay. So in the last class, basically during lab, we have discussed that what is the difference between actual time calculation and asymptotic representation of the complexity of an algorithm. Okay. So here we will start with some example and we will continue from the next class. Okay. So in the last class, we have discussed it. So at this moment, let us start with the basic examples and so that we can understand why different types of representations are needed. Okay. So in our previous discussion, we have talked about that if an algorithm receives some input, it will generate some output. So based on the logic, it will execute and it will generate some output. So here in this representation, if we consider that if input size of an algorithm is n, okay, so input size this one is basically input size. So if I say n is input size, then if complexity of an algorithm is being represented by different big representation as you are all of you are familiar with. So if we represent complexity of an algorithm as big of a polynomial function gn. Okay, so if we represent complexity of an algorithm like this, so if gn equals to log n or n log n, so if we change the value of n, how this value will change? So for larger value of n, how the execution time will be affected. Okay, so to understand that, I have just given you a table so that you can easily understand that with respect to n, how it is being varied. Okay, so let us talk about it. That this on, I am assuming that this is the value of n, so size of input. So what will be the size of input? We are all familiar with basic algorithms like sorting. Similarly, we are also familiar with different searching algorithms like linear search, binary search, different sorting algorithms like bubble sort, merge sort, quick sort. We have learned radix sort and many more. Similarly, you are already familiar with different types of data structures and their operations. Like what will be the complexity if we consider that we have a stack and we have to perform push operation. So what will be the complexity of this push operation? Similarly, if we have a graph Then if we want to visit all the vertices of the graph using depth first search, what will be the complexity of this algorithm? So like that. So here, in case of searching or sorting, we are considering n is the input size. So in case of sorting and searching, if the number of elements present in this array or in some linked list or in some other data structure is n, so size of input is n, so how much time it will take to execute. So we want to get an idea of its time consumption. So when the value of n will increase, how the performance of the algorithm will be affected. Basically, we want to understand this one. Okay, so here, uh, if we consider n equals to 1, so the value of, if the complexity, that means if a function is given, so we have a function fn, and this is the given function, and its complexity is big O of gn. Okay, so complexity of this given function fn is big O of gn. So if its complexity gn equals to log n, then how it will be affected with the variation of n. So if the complexity of this function is n log n, how it will be affected? So we will be eventually understand that how the performance of the algorithm will be affected. So what will be the performance of this algorithm? Okay. So in that way, it will vary. Now, this one, so if we consider two algorithms like Babel sort, we have already discussed the Babel sort, and another algorithm is merge sort. Okay. So in case of Babel sort, uh, what is the complexity of Babel sort? We know that.
Sir, O big of n square.
So basically Gn equals to big O n square. Whereas in case of merge sort, what will be the value of Gn? Gn can be represented as big O of
Analog.
n, n log n.
N log n.
N log n.
Yeah. So this one, big O of n log n. So if two algorithms are given, just Babel sort and merge sort, both are being used for same purpose. We are not, in the last class we have discussed that along with time complexity, we have to consider some memory consumption and other complexities also, but at this moment we are talking about only time complexity. Okay, so if we have two algorithms, memory is not a limitation in our system for which this algorithm is being implemented. So in that case, if we have two choices, one is Babel sort, another one is merge sort. So which one shall I refer? So in case of Gn equals to big O of n square, or if Gn equals to, sorry, I should not write this one. Just wait for a minute. Is there any eraser? I can't see any eraser. Okay, yeah. So I should not write this one, big O. Okay. So if Gn equals to this, or Gn equals to this. Okay. So actually we will put this Gn here. So I'm coming to this again. So if I put this Gn here, so that will be the complexity of this algorithm. So in that case, it will be complexity of this function will be big O of Gn. Okay. So if we consider a larger value of n, like here in this example, if n equals to 16, it's not a too large value, but still I'm putting it here. So if n equals to 16, then in case of merge sort, how many comparisons are needed? It is in the form of n log n. So if we consider that this value is 64, whereas in case of Babel sort, it's n squared. So what is the value of n squared? It's 256. this is much more than the previous merge sort. So in case of bubble sort, it will take more time compared to merge sort. Now, if we consider that the value of n is 100, sorry, 32, just we are doubling this value. So compared to the previous one. So if the value is just twice of the previous sample, now here its time consumption is approximately 160, but here this value is 1024. So the change of this value to the complexity, based on the complexity, if we take a large value of n, then time consumption in case of bubble sort will grow rapidly compared to merge sort. So that's why its time complexity is, as the time complexity of bubble sort is more, that's why we should not prefer bubble sort if all other things are not the constraint of our system. Okay, so this is the scenario. So just using this table, I want to represent that if a problem is given, so with the change of input size, you can understand that how its execution time will be affected. Okay, this is the scenario. Now I'm coming to a different example. Okay, so is it clear that how with the value change of value of n, how the system performance will vary if the complexity of an algorithm is n log n or n square or n cube? At least I think you have some basic idea about it. So this is just some discussion which you have already learned in previous semester. Just to recap something, we are discussing it here again, because this paper is completely dependent on the basic concepts which you have learned in data structure. Okay. Now, I'm giving you some different example. I think, have you worked with any exponential time problem uh, in data structure? You have not worked, but okay, let us try to understand that how the value, uh, how exponential time algorithms grow. Like there was a story in ancient India. I have forgot the name of the king, but the story is something like that. That the king was very happy by the suggestion of one priest in his decision making. To know that at that time in ancient India, most of the time the kings was advised by some priest. Okay, so at that time, one priest advised the king to do something, and he was very happy for the decision. And he decided to give whatever the priest demands. Okay, probably the story is known to you, many of you. Okay, so according to the demand, so priest confirmed that whether the king is agreed to give him whatever he wants. So at that time, king agreed, and the priest asked to give grains on a chessboard. So you know that what is the size of the chessboard? So chessboard is 8x8. Okay. So I'm coming to the demand. So the chessboard size is 8x8. Okay. Now the priest demanded that put one grain on the first box. Okay. On first cell, put one grain. Then on second cell, you have to put two grains like this. So if we consider this chessboard, now think of the growth of the function. So growth of the function means in first cell, you have to put one grain. On second cell, it will be twice of the previous cell. And third cell, it will be twice of the previous cell. And that way. So how many grains are required to fill this chessboard? that amount of gain was demanded by the priest. So, what do you think? Is it too large or it's fine for a king of a country like India?
Too large.
Hmm?
Too large.
It will be too large,
Too
sir.
large. Okay. So at that time, so what will be the value of this? So it will be just like
64 square.
1, yeah, 1 plus 2 plus 2 square plus 2 cube, like this. So it's basically 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1. So up to 2 to the power 63. So this value is basically 2 to the power 64 minus 1. Now think of this value. It's 2 to the power 64 minus 1. So 2 to the power 4 means it's 16 multiplied by 1024, then again 1024. So it will be 6 times. Okay. So we can just put it will be 6 times. Okay. So this amount of gain can be used in modern days. It can be used to feed the whole world for few days. That amount of grain was demanded by the priest. So this is basically just we want to understand that what is the growth of the function. So if the complexity of an algorithm is exponential, like 2 to the power n. So here we have how many cells we have? So n equals to 64. Total number of cells on the chessboard is 64. So n equals to 64. And so 2 to the power 64. This is the value. Okay. So 2 to the power 64. Here we can find that it's 2 to the power n minus 1. Okay. So if the function complexity of a function is like this, it's too large. So for a large value of n, I'm not talking about 1,000 or 1 lakh or 1 million. If even the value of n is 50 or 60, that's too large. And if complexity of one algorithm is like this, then it's hard to solve. In this paper, later on, we will come to a chapter which is NP completeness. So during NP completeness, we will discuss about hard problems in computer science. Okay, but at this moment, is it fine to understand that how the function grows? So if complexity of a function is like this, like exponential function, then it will grow very quickly. So even a supercomputer will not be able to perform or calculate the solution in very short time. Okay, so this is very hard problem. If such space of an algorithm is too large, we will try to reduce our time complexity of the defined algorithm. So if the complexity of the algorithm is exponential, then we will try to use some other technique. Okay, so that kind of problems will be discussed later on. But at this moment, we want to understand what is the growth of a function. So this is a sample which is given. So in this way, it will change. Okay. Now I'm coming to the next part. Okay. So this is just a graph. So in this direction, so in this graph, we want to understand that when the value of n is changing, how the complexity of if the complexity of the
Sir, your
function is
voice
like
is not clearly audible.
is it clear now? Hello?
No, sir.
No. Earlier, it was clear or not? It's not clear till now. Hello. Am I audible at this moment?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
but your
sir.
voice is breaking in between.
Voice is pretty. Hmm, how to solve this problem? Because I'm in college internet connection. Rest of the thing is working fine, but I don't
Sir, I
know
think
why.
it's the issue of earphones, I guess.
It's the issue of earphone. Okay. Uh, Let me try to talk to you over phone. Just wait for a minute. Can you hear me? Hello.
Sir, background noise is too much.
Hello. Is it audible right now?
Sir, background noise is too
So noises are coming.
Okay. Let's wait for a minute. Okay.
No, sir, you are not audible.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
কথা বলতে বলতে হঠাৎ বলতে শুনতে পাচ্ছি না। থ্যাংক ইউ। আরে কথা বলতে বলতে হঠাৎ করে শুনতে পাচ্ছি না।
Hello.
Yes, sir. It's
Yes, sir.
perfect.
Yes, sir, now audible.
Is it clear now, voice?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Clear.
Okay. Uh, uh, okay, let us resume our class. So here, okay, this pen. So here, using this graph, we want to show that if the value of n is changing in this direction, and what will be the time consumption. Okay, so we are plotting time consumption in this direction. So for different value, as we have discussed in the previous slide, for different value of n, it will change in this way. So for different value of n, it will be changed. So when the value of n is increasing, like this one, so here the value is very small, but still, if the value of n is increasing at this moment, for if the complexity of a function is big O of log n, and for other function complexity is big O of n, and for some other function big O of n square. So this function for which fn equals to fn complexity of this function is big O of n square, it will increase rapidly compared to the other complexities like big O of n or big O of n log n. So in this way, the time consumption of the algorithm will increase. That's why we want to design some algorithm for which time consumption is very low. Okay, so this is our main objective during designing an algorithm. Okay, now coming to different types of notation, you have already learned in previous semester, but we want to discuss it again just to get some idea. And if you have some doubt or you have forgot something, just to recap that, we will discuss this type of asymptotic notations. So in the last class, we have already discussed that if we have different types of okay, we have discussed that basically the actual time consumption and asymptotic notation, these two things are correlated, but these are not same. Okay, so in case of asymptotic representation, we are trying to understand that what will be the nature of the function. So if we can represent complexity of an algorithm using a function fn,
then how it will change. Okay, so what will be the nature of this graph, just as you have shown here. So what will be the nature of the graph, how it will change, how fn will change with change of n. Okay, so when n is increasing, how it will change with n. So we want to understand it. So here we are representing it using BIGO notation. So what is BIGO notation? You are already familiar with. It's asymptotic upper bound. Okay, so upper bound means, so we will be able to determine an upper bound. So this function will always perform better than this. Okay, so just for example, if we consider that in design analysis of algorithm, what can be the maximum score? The maximum score on this in this paper can be 100. No one can score greater than 100. Okay, so this is the ceiling value, this is the upper bound. So all the students, some student may get 100 out of 100, but rest of the student will get always less than this value. So 100 is basically the upper limit. Similarly, 0 is the lower limit. Okay, so if a function is given here, n is changing. Okay, so if a function is given, if we can determine the ceiling value, or I think the ceiling value means the maximum value. Okay, so if we can determine a function gn in such a way that always fn will perform like this. So always this value fn will be less than some constant into gn. So here c is basically a constant value and gn is a polynomial function. Okay, so if a function fn is given and we are able to determine a polynomial function gn for which fn will be always less than equals to some constant into gn, then we'll say that the complexity of this fn function is big O of gn. So this is the upper bound. So why it's upper bound? Let us try to understand. So if we say that a function is given, so here in this direction we are changing the value of n, and here we are putting this value fn. So when, if for a function, if fn is this, okay, so this is the function fn. Okay, so if we can put this value fn here, so in this is the n and this is y. So we can represent, we are representing this function as y equals to fn. So this function is given. So if we put it here, so this, if we put different value of n, if the time consumption of fn is like this for different value of n, we have to determine a function gn. So we have to determine a function gn and a constant value c, such that this one will be always less than this. So if we can determine a function c into gn, so where c is a constant and this gn is a polynomial function, so fn is always less than c into gn. Is it clear? For any value of n, if it is being satisfied for any value of n, fn is always less than equals to c into gn. It can reach c into gn, but always it will be less than equals to. So the value of fn can be less than equals to c into gn. Then this is the upper bound. So fn will never cross this line. For any larger value of n, it will never cross this line. Okay, so if we can represent it in this way, then this function, this c into gn, this one is basically known as asymptotic upper bound. Just 1 minute. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, so this one. So this is basically asymptotic upper bound. So just for example, if fn equals to 3 into n, this is one example. So if fn equals to 3n plus 2, okay, and this function is given, so we have to determine what will be the complexity of this function. Okay, just we can put it like this. So fn is this, so we have to determine the function gn. So just if we put this value fn, and if we assume that this one gn equals to n, okay, so if we multiply it with 4, then we will calculate whether it is being satisfied or not. Okay, so we want to establish this relationship that this one is valid for this given function. So how it will be validated? So if we put this, so fn equals to some constant into gn, then if we put n equals to 1, what will be the value? So 3 into 1 plus 2 less than equals to 4 into 1. Is it satisfied? This one is not satisfied. Okay, because it will be in the left hand side, it will be 5. 5 is not less than equals to 4. So this is not satisfied. Now if I try to put next value, 3 into 2 plus 2 less than equals to 4 into 2. So this value is 6 plus 2, 8. So 8 is less than equals to 8. This one is satisfied. Now if I put any large value of n, like 3 into 3 plus 2 less than equals to 4 into 3. So it will be 11 less than equals to 12. This one is again satisfied. Now you may try with any large value of n. Like if I put n equals to 100. So 3 into 100 plus 2 less than equals to 4 into 100. So for any large value of n, it will be satisfied. So where from it will be satisfied? So this given function fn, for this given function fn, just I will put it here. So for a given function fn equals to 3n plus 2, this function is being satisfied by, so fn will be less than equals to c into gn for what value? What will be the value of c and what will be the value of gn? In our example, we have considered that gn equals to, in our example, we have considered that gn equals to n and the constant value c equals to 4. Okay, so for this inequality is being satisfied. So if c equals to 4 and gn equals to n, this inequality is being satisfied. But is it satisfied for all the values of n?
No, sir.
No, it is not satisfied for this one. So this one is not being satisfied. Sorry, just a minute. This one is not being satisfied for n equals to 1. But for n equals to 2, 3, 4, and for any larger value, it is being satisfied. So we have to mention it here. We have to mention it here that for any large value, that means what will be the initial value, the starting point of n, that will be represented by n0. Okay, the initial value of n. So what will be the initial value? It will be 2. So basically for n greater than equals to 2, it is being satisfied. You should represent it like this. So for equals to 2, this inequality is being satisfied when c equals to 4 and gn equals to n. Okay. So this you have to mention here. So in this way, we can represent big O notation. So this is basically big O notation of any function. So this is asymptotic upper bound as we have discussed, and in this way it will be satisfied. Is it fine, or do you have any confusion? So that if you have any confusion, we can discuss with other example also. This one is very simple example. We may think of a little bit complex problem. Okay. Let me discuss with some other problem. Okay, whether the value of n can be negative number, like can I put n equals to -5?
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir.
Time can
Why?
be negative.
Because C is not equal.
Sir, n is the input here. How can input be?
Yeah, the size of input cannot be negative. So at least one element will be there, or the input set can be null. That means the size of n, or the value of n is 0, but it can't be negative. Okay. Okay. If we consider a function like, let us consider some other function. Like if our function fn is given, and for this fn, okay, let me try with 5 n cube plus n square log n plus some constant like 4. So this is the given function. What will be the complexity of this function?
N cube.
Okay, directly you can say that always that the complexity of this one will be n cube. But how will you determine? So you have to show it on pen and paper. That's why we are saying that this complexity of this function is big of n cube. So you have to use the same notation. So we have to find if we can prove that fn is less than equals to some constant into gn. We have to prove it. So if it is being proved, then it will be big of n cube. So how will you prove it? So fn is given. Okay. So fn is given. So we can put it like this: 5 into n cube plus n square log n plus 4. Now we have to calculate some constant value and gn. Okay. So what will be the constant value? What we can try? So we can try with c equals to 6, and we can try with gn equals to n cube. So if we say that 6 into n cube, and we have to prove whether it's being satisfied or not. Okay. Now you may think that why we are putting 6 here? Can I put 4? If I put 4 here instead of 6, if I consider that c equals to 4 instead of 6, then in the left hand side, we have 5n cube. In the right hand side, if I put some smaller constant, then never it will be satisfied, because with the increase of n, always this value will be multiplied by 4, and in the left hand side, it is being multiplied by 5. So it will never be satisfied. So you have to put some value which is larger than this constant. Okay. So the left hand side, for which part growth is maximum, this one is constant. This one is n square log n, and this one is n cube. Okay, so for which this growth is maximum? Try to recap. We have discussed in the previous slide that if we plot it like this, so n in this direction and time in this direction. Okay, so time, or we can say that this is y. So assuming that we are considering that y equals to fn. Okay, so if we plot it here, then this function is n square log n. Okay, so what is the value of log n? Log n is always less than n. Is it clear? I can go to the previous slide. Okay, so now you may check here. So if this is the value of n, and what will be the value of log n? This, so log n is always less than n. Okay, now coming back to our parent slide. So here, so if n square into log n will be always less than n cube. Okay, so if we consider this, so n square log n will be always less than n cube. So that's why this is the part of this function. In this function, this part has maximum growth. Okay, so if this part has maximum growth in this function, then we'll try to calculate this gn in such a way that it is being satisfied. So let us try. So if I put n equals to 1, obviously it will not be satisfied. You can easily calculate it. So 5 plus 1,
That
6
will be
plus,
0. So
that will be 0. So 5 plus 4. 5 plus 4 means it will be 9. 9 will not be less than equals to 6. Okay. Now, if I put n equals to 2,
both side 48.
both side 48. Okay, as you have calculated. So for n equals to 2, it is being satisfied. For n equals to 3, again it will be satisfied, because this value is not as much as of n cube. If this one is n cube, then it will be 5n cube plus n cube, that means 6n cube. So in that case, if the given function is like something like different, like instead of log n, if the function is 6n cube plus 4, so in that case I will consider c equals to 7 instead of considering it as 6. Okay, so for n equals to 1, 5 plus 1 into log 0, 1 means 0 plus 4, it is not being satisfied. For n equals to 2, as you have calculated, this one is being satisfied. For any larger value of n, it is being satisfied. So we can say that fn is being satisfied by this inequality, where c equals to 6 and what is the other constraint, other criteria? So n should be greater than equals to 2, or n should be greater than 1. Okay, for this value it will be satisfied. So what will be the initial value of n? So n0 equals to 2. Initial value of n is basically 2. Okay, we have determined it. So if this inequality is being satisfied for this combination of values, then complexity of this function fn is big O of gn. So what we have considered as gn? So in our example, in our assumption, what is the value of gn? N cube. So complexity of this function is, just replace this gn by its value. So it's n cube. So asymptotic representation, in asymptotic representation, if we consider big O notation, then the complexity of this function is big O of n cube. So in this way, you have to prove it. Okay, so this is asymptotic upper bound. Now we are going to discuss, is there any doubt or any clarification is needed?
No, sir.
Okay, so if I consider asymptotic lower bound, we have already discussed it in the last class. Now again we are repeating it. So if a function is given, so in asymptotic upper bound, in case of upper bound, what was the constraint? Fn, the inequality was Fn is less than equals to C into Gn. In case of lower bound, asymptotic lower bound, here we are considering that Fn is greater than equals to C into Gn. So in the similar way, we will try to find out a function Gn so that we can represent the complexity of this function is big omega of Gn. Okay. So if we have taken the same example here, so if Fn equals to 3n plus 2, so we will put Fn, so according to this one, so Fn equals to 3n plus 2, we are considering that Gn equals to n and some constant value C, so we are again assuming that C equals to 3. So this inequality will be always satisfied for any value of n greater than equals to 1, because this part is 3n. So 3n plus 2 will be always greater than equals to 3n. So for any value of n, this inequality will be satisfied. So in our assumption, what is Gn here? So Gn equals to this. So this is basically the Gn we have taken. So if this is Gn, then complexity of this function will be how represent it. So complexity of this function Fn is basically big omega of Gn. Okay. Now put this, replace this value of Gn in your equation. So this one is big omega of, here in our assumption Gn equals to n. So here this one is n. So big omega of n. Okay. So in the similar way, you can just put some values of n and you have to prove that for any larger value of n, it will be satisfied. And in that case, we can represent it as asymptotic lower bound, as we have discussed in case of asymptotic upper bound. Okay. Now coming to our other problem, like why best asymptotic tight bound is required. Okay. Why asymptotic tight bound is required? So in our discussion, try to, okay, let me come to this. Why asymptotic tight bound is required? Just I'll check what I can write. Okay, we have some free space here. So let us try. So if we have a given function Fn and this value is Fn equals to 5n cube plus 4. Okay, I'm taking a very simple example, 5n cube plus 4. So if I put this equation in case of asymptotic upper bound, can I represent it as big O of n to the power 4?
Yes, sir.
Asymptotic upper bound. So this one is correct, asymptotic upper bound. Now, similarly, if we want to calculate asymptotic lower bound, it can be represented as, we can represent it as this big omega of n square. This one is again correct because the inequalities according to the definition will be satisfied. There is no problem. So if the inequalities are being satisfied, so we can represent it like this or this. Now, if we plot it on graph, okay. So if we plot it on graph, then what will be the problem? Like if this one is asymptotic, I'm taking that this one is just representing it as lower bound. So this is asymptotic lower bound. We are representing it as n square function. Now, if this one is the given function fn, and we have another function which is what was the asymptotic upper bound. So this is basically upper bound. Okay, so this is a function in the form of n to the power 4. This is a function in the form of this is in the form of n square, and actual function is growing in the form of n cube. Okay, so there is a huge gap. You understand that there's a huge gap between this. So in case of the given function, there's a huge gap because the growth rate of n to the power 4 and the growth rate of n square, there is a huge difference. You can just try with some values. Okay, so if you can try with some values, then you will understand that this gap is very huge, because for any value of n, this gap is huge. So if this gap is huge, then it's very difficult to understand the nature of this function. Okay, so if I say that in design analysis of algorithm, your score is okay, you may get a number, or your score may vary within 10 to 95. Is it possible to get an idea about your performance? Your score is within the range of 10 to 95. But if we say that your score is in the range of 80 to 85, then obviously I will get some idea that what was your performance in that paper. Okay, so we will try to figure out this. We will try to lower this limit. Okay, so upper bound and lower bound, these two should be closer enough so that we can get an idea about the nature of the change. Okay, so if we can represent it, so this is the basically, this one is the importance of asymptotic tight bound. So we have to find one function gn in such a way so that the upper bound and lower bound, these two values are very close. Okay, so if a function is given, then we will try to find out like this. So we will try to find out gn in such a way that this constant c1 and this constant c2 will be help to reduce this bound, upper bound, the gap between lower bound and upper bound. So if I take one example like the previous one, so if I take this example as previous one, so fn equals to this, which is greater than equals to 3n and which is less than equals to 4n. Okay, but in case of asymptotic upper bound, we can represent it as big O of n square. In asymptotic lower bound, we can represent it as big O of n to the power 0. That means big O of 1. Sorry. Please stop me
That
if
would
I
be
do any
omega.
mistake. This one should be omega. Okay. So this one should be omega. Okay. So this one will be big omega of n to the power 0. So it will not help us to understand the nature of this function. But if we can determine a function gn which is common in the both hand side, so this gn is basically equals with this gn. So only the constant values are different. Okay, so in that case, so this is basically c1 and this is basically c2. So if we can represent it in this way, then the complexity of this function will be big theta of gn. So here n equals to, gn equals to n. So the complexity of this function will be big theta of n. Okay. Is it fine? It will be big theta of n. So in this way, so it will help us to reduce the gap between upper bound and lower bound. So if we can represent a function in this way, obviously this one is beneficial. So in most of the cases, we will try to analyze complexity of an algorithm using big theta representation instead of big O or big omega.
হ্যালো
Yeah.
স্যার বলছি আমরা যখন মানে আপার বাউন্ডে যখন মানে অ্যাসিম্পটোটিক আপার বাউন্ডে যখন ক্যালকুলেট করবো তখন তো ওটার তো কোনো রেঞ্জ এক্সাক্ট কোনো রেঞ্জ থাকবে না, তো সিলেক্টটা কেমন ভাবে করা হয়? সাপোজ এখানে যেমন আছে fn ইকুয়ালস টু 3n প্লাস 2, তো আপার বাউন্ডটা আমরা n কিউব বা কোনো কিছু নিতে পারি, তো এক্স্যাক্টলি মানে মেজারটা কি করে করা হয় যে আপার বাউন্ডটা এটাই নেওয়া উচিত?
Okay. Give me any one example. Give me a function. It will help us.
3n প্লাস 2
Can you repeat it? Fn equals to
3n প্লাস
3n plus 2. This given function, or you will take some other function.
other function where n is very complex and like n to the power n.
Okay. Fn equals to 10 to the power n plus minus anything.
Plus minus some constant. 5 plus minus 2 plus 5.
Okay. Plus 5.
So in that case, how can we determine the upper bound? Is that upper bound or lower?
Okay. So let us try that if the given function is this, what will be the value? So Fn equals to this. So according to the Bigo representation, Fn, we have to find a function Gn which is less than equals to like this. Okay. According to the definition, this inequality should be satisfied. So here, what is the value of Fn? Fn equals to 10 to the power n plus 5. So you have to find out some constant into Gn. Okay. This one. So if we want to represent it, then what should be the value of Gn? Your question is, how will you determine this Gn? Okay. This one is very simple. It's not a very hard. This one, what kind of function is this?
Exponential.
This one is exponential because a constant, its power is n. So this is exponential function. Okay. So if this one is exponential function, so always its complexity will be greater than the polynomial functions. So in the right hand side, the simplest way is try to put the same function. So if we put Gn equals to 10 to the power n again. So Gn equals to 10 to the power n. Try to put it as close as it is. Okay. So Gn equals to 10 to the power n and some constant value. So I can just, if I put 1, then it's not possible to satisfy, because in the left hand side we have 10 to the power n plus 5. In the right hand side we have only 1 into 10 to the power n. That means 10 to the power n always. So 10 to the power n plus 5 cannot exceed 10 to the power n. So in the right hand side, if I say that c equals to 2, just put the closest value. So c equals to 2. So if I put c equals to 2, then 10 to the power n plus 5 less than equals to 2 into 10 to the power n. Okay. 2 into 10 to the power n. Now, if I put n equals to 1, what will be the value? So 10 to the power 1, so that means 10 plus 5, which is less than equals to 2 into 10 to the power 1. This one is true. For any larger value of n, it will be satisfied. If we put n equals to 2, so 105, in the right hand side we have 200. So always this inequality is being satisfied. So for any value of n greater than equals to 1, this inequality is being satisfied. Okay. So if this inequality is being satisfied for any larger value of n, then complexity of this function can be in big O representation. Complexity of this function will be big O of gn. So what is gn here? In our assumption, gn equals to 10 to the power n. So just put it here. So if I put it here, so big O of 10 to the power n. Try to put some value. Gn should not be considered randomly. You may, by according to the definition, you may take any value. You may try with some larger value. You may try with some values, but always we will try to consider this function as close as possible with the fn. Okay. Now, just for if we take the same example to calculate big theta. Okay, I am taking the same example to calculate big theta. So what will be big theta representation? So let me try here. So if we say that big theta representation, so okay, fn, this fn should be less than equals to some constant into gn. Okay, so some constant into gn, and in the left hand side it will be, there will be another inequality, which one will be c1 into gn. (12:30). Some constant into gn. Okay, now according to this function, so let us try. So 10 to the power n plus 5 should be less than equals to something, and it should be greater than equals to something. So if I consider the same function 10 to the power n, in the right hand side I will take the same function 10 to the power n. So I'm assuming that gn equals to 10 to the power n. Okay, so in the left hand side I will use c1 equals to 1. So in the left hand side I am taking c1 equals to 1, and right hand side I will take c2 equals to 2. So it will be 2 into 10 to the power n. Try with the values of different values of n. So for any value of n greater than equals to 1, this inequalities are being satisfied. Okay, so in big theta representation, the complexity of this function can be represented as big theta of 10 to the power n. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the technique by which we can represent different types of complexities. So big theta, big omega, and these things are being represented in this way. Okay. So these are some other examples for which we can calculate this complexity. So this is the graphical representation. So according to the theoretical part, we'll come here. So this is basically big theta representation. So big theta representation means we are able to determine the upper bound as well as lower bound of a function So if we are able to represent it using upper bound as well as lower bound, so this is the nature of the function. So complexity of this given function fn will be big theta of gn. Now here we are representing a dotted line. This line represents the value of n0. So the initial value of n. So the values of n which is greater than equals to n0, it will be satisfied. It may not satisfy within this range. So 0 to n0, within this range it may not satisfy, but for any larger value of n, that means n is greater than equals to n0, it will be satisfied. So you have to determine the value of n0 as we have determined in every cases. So if we have asymptotic upper bound, so this is the representation of asymptotic upper bound, and this is asymptotic lower bound. So this is the lower bound of this fn function, as in previous example. This is the upper bound of the given function. Okay, so that's more or less all about these three types of representation: upper bound, lower bound, and tight bound. Okay, now we want to find out a different, let us try to understand two different types of notations. One is small o and another one is small omega. Okay, these two types of representation we have to understand here. Okay, sometimes it's not possible to find a function which is asymptotically tight. Okay, we'll discuss with some examples later on. So sometimes all the functions are not representable by big theta representation. Okay, so we can represent it as omega big O, but we are unable to represent it using big theta. Okay. So in those cases, mostly we use some other notation, and this notation is small o notation. Okay. So in small o notation, what will be the how it will be represented? Like if the given function is fn, as we are assuming that given function is fn. Okay. So for this given function, we have to calculate this. Okay, so if fn it's divided by gn and its limit n tends to infinity, the value goes towards 0, it becomes very close to 0, or it can be represented as 0, then we represent this function as big small o of gn. Just I'm taking one example, like if a function fn equals to 5n cube plus 2n square minus 7. This is the given function. Okay, so here we have to calculate fn by gn. This representations are rarely used, but in some system we have to use this representation, small o and as well as small omega. So here if fn divided by gn, so what is the value? If I put this value 5n cube plus 2n square plus 7 divided by gn, what shall I choose? What kind of polynomial function? This one is a polynomial function, fn is polynomial here. So what kind of polynomial function shall I choose for gn so that its limit
Degree.
tends to infinity 0?
Degree 3.
Huh?
Degree 3 polynomial.
It will be n to the power
n cube.
n cube. Okay, let us try. If I put this value n cube, okay, just I will use eraser. It's very clumsy here. Okay, let us try. Pen. Okay. If I say n cube, put this value. Limit n tends to infinity. So 5 n cube. I'm just splitting it. 5 n cube by n cube plus 2 n square by n cube plus 7 by n cube. Sorry, it's minus 7. I have done a mistake here. Here it was minus, here it will be minus. Okay. Now put this value. What will be the value? N cube. So for first part, it will be 5 plus 2 by, it will be like infinity. I should not represent it. I don't have any sufficient space. That's why I'm representing it in this way. Minus 7 by infinity. These values are becoming 0. A constant value divided by two large numbers. So these values are equivalent to 0. So basically they are tends to 0. So what will be the value? This function will remain 5. But according to the definition, this value should be 0. Okay. This limit should be 0. Is it clear now? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes.
instead of n cube, so I should consider some larger value here. Okay. So I will not choose n cube. So instead of choosing n cube, now if I put n to the power 4, gn equals to n to the power 4. So it will be divided by n to the power 4, n to the power 4, n to the power 4. So in that case, instead of this calculation, what will be the calculation here? 5 divided by n, where n tends to infinity. For first part, 5 divided by n, here limit n tends to infinity. So the value of n is becoming too large. So constant value divided by n, this value according to the calculation of limit, you know that this value will be 0. Plus again the second part will be 2 by n square, where n tends to infinity. This one is 0. Third part is also 0. So now this value is 0. So for this given function fn, if we consider this given function fn, for this given function, what will be the complexity? In small o representation, its complexity will be n to the power 4. Okay, because we have taken gn equals to n to the power 4. So generally, when we are calculating this small o, we are using the small o representation. If a polynomial function is given, then in small o representation, complexity of this function will be small o gn, where generally the power of basically the gn function is the next higher power of fn. So if in given polynomial function fn highest power is n cube, then it will be gn will be n to the power 4. Okay. This type of representation is only needed where we are unable to calculate the tight bound. Okay. Now, coming back to, sorry, we are discussing another representation, small
Sir,
omega.
I have a doubt.
So in small, hmm,
Sir, in the previous example which you gave, you said we use small O notation only for those where it is not possible to calculate tight bond. But in the given function which you took as example, we can calculate the tight bond in that case.
obviously we can calculate for the given these examples we have taken are very simple. That's why
So, sir, why
uh,
do we use small O notation?
okay, I will give you some examples later on. Just try to understand the what are the different notations which you use for representation. I will give you some examples. We will discuss different algorithms. So at that time, I will give you some examples for smaller representation.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Similarly, if we have this one, small omega. So in the similar way, if a fn is given and we are going to calculate gn function and we are trying to calculate limit n tends to infinity, and instead of this value becoming 0, now it will be infinity. Okay, so this value will be infinity. So if it is being satisfied, then we represent this function and its complexity as small omega of gn. So in that case, it will be represented as, sorry, it will be represented as small omega of gn. So if we take any example in the similar way, it will be calculated. Uh, but you need some examples so that you can understand. In that uh, better, yeah, hello.
একবার বলছি ফর দ্য প্রিভিয়াস এক্সাম্পল সেখানে তো ওমেগা মানে স্মল ওমেগা যে ভ্যালুটা সেটা তো এনও হতে পারে এন স্কোয়ারও হতে পারে, তো কোনটা যেটা, কারণ এন হলেও তো ইনফিনিটি হবে, এন স্কোয়ার হলেও তো ইনফিনিটি হবে,
Huh. So
কোনটা নেওয়া?
this representation, other than the big theta representation, no one is tight bound.
Anyone can.
Yeah, you will understand it a little bit when we will discuss Master's theorem, where we consider different types of complex functions. It will be easier to understand. So I will discuss this small omega and small o representation again when we will discuss Master's theorem. Though in Master's theorem we are talking about mostly in big theta representation, but if you want to get any real example of small o and small omega, I will give you some example, but at this moment I think the things will be a little bit hard for you. So if you are still interested, before going there, try to lots of symbols are there. Later on, we will take some little bit complex problems like this one. Okay, you know that I'll not discuss the things right now, but just to give you some idea that why different types of representations are needed. Now, can you tell me what will be the complexity of this function? You know that in case of merge sort, uh, we can represent a function Tn equals to twice of T n by 2 plus some constant. This is the representation you have used in case of master. This is recursive function call. So each and we are splitting the if n number of elements are there in the given problem. In the next step, we are splitting it into two nearly equal halves. Okay. So in this half, we have n by 2 number of elements. In this half, we have n by 2 number of elements. So we can represent this function as this recurrence. So T of n is being splitted into two halves of T n by 2. Each and every half will contain approximately n by 2 number of elements. And for conquering, this is being used for splitting purpose. During conquer, it will take some constant time. So during conquer operation, it will take basically n time. So if n number of elements are there for conquer operation, it will take some constant into n. So it will be something like 1 into n. Okay. So in case of merge sort, we know that complexity of this function is big O of, you have already calculated, it will be big O of n log n. Now, if the given function is like this, like T of n equals to 2 into T of n by 2 plus 2 to the power n. What will be the complexity of this function? Big O of big O of 2 to the power n. Okay. Is it fine? Okay. We will come to this discussion whether it will be big O of 2 to the power n or not. So for this one, Tn equals to T of root over n. What will be the complexity? Basically, in those cases, the problems will not be so simple. Okay, we will come to that. I will not discuss the things today. We don't have sufficient time. We have only 12 minutes in our hand. So better we can start this master's theorem in next class. Okay. So okay, whether this type of 5 types of representation in asymptotic notation, is this clear to you? If I give you any problem, whether you will be able to solve it? I will not give you some complex problems where master's theorems are required to solve it. But for simple problems, I think all of you will be able to handle it. Hello? Anyone? Do you have any doubt in this section?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, let us try to discuss. Just we have 10 minutes approximately. So if we talk about, I will Close-Masters theorem.
Sir, can you please provide us the materials?
Yeah, I will share everything. I'll share these slides as well as also. Okay, I will update it and I'll share it. Let us try to discuss. Okay, have you collected any book?
Yes.
You have to collect 2 books at least. Okay, this one, the first one, and these 2 books are needed at this moment. Oh, where is the slide? Just a minute. No, I can't write anything. Just give me 1 minute. I'll stop sharing and I will share it again. I think this one is visible. Okay, you have to go through these 2 books. One is this, so basically this first one and this one. These 2 books are very important. You should collect it. Okay, and I will suggest you not to read it from library. Try to keep these 2 books with you for your lifetime. These 2 books are very important. Okay, so now I'm coming to this discussion. Okay, how do you decide that the complexity of Marshall algorithm is big of n log n? How do you decide it? There are different approaches. You can discuss with any approach. Hello? Anyone? Huh? Huh? You can unmute and you can discuss. No problem. Don't mute it.
কোশ্চেনটা একবার রিপিট করুন, ওটাই বলছিলাম, মানে সাউন্ডটা কেটে গেছে।
Oh, the question is, how do you decide, how do you determine that the complexity of Marshall algorithm is big of n log n?
From the recurrence relations.
From the recurrence relation, yeah. So how?
So in the case of recurrence relation, it is Tn equals to Tn by 2 plus constant into n.
Okay, 2 into t
n by
n by 2 plus some constant into n.
yeah, 1 into
Okay,
n.
then
The first level it divide and conquer time will be n and second also.
Then
We can add the substitution method here. So
okay, using substitution method, you can add it. So 2 into
n
this one will be replaced by same function 2 of t of n by 2 square plus, if the constant is same, so c into
n
n plus this one into n. So this one is this, and this one is being replaced by this. So using substitution method. Okay, so if we use substitution method, then this one will be n by 2, obviously. So in this way, how many times it will be substituted? How many steps you have to follow?
so log n.
Log n times. So that's why it will be c into n into log n. That will be the prime factor on which this complexity is dependent. Okay. So this is the substitution method. So you have to understand substitution method clearly. You have already learned it earlier, but you have to use this method because during exam you may be asked to calculate complexity of this algorithm, merge sort as well as quick sort. Okay, so if we consider merge sort using substitution method, you can calculate the complexity like this. Okay, in case of quick sort, what will be the complexity? What is the complexity of quick sort? The name is quick, so it should be less than n log n.
So it's
Is
log
it?
n, sir.
It's log
In
n.
best case n log n, and worst case it will be n square big of.
Okay, n log n, not only log n. Okay, so in case of quick sort, you know that it will be, sometimes it will be n log n in best case, and in other cases it will be big of n square. Okay, so how will you prove it? Basically, it's not proof. Basically, how will you determine that the complexity of quick sort is big of n square or big of n log n in best case? You can use the same technique. You can use recurrence relation. You can use substitution method, or you may use some other technique to prove it. Okay. So in the next class, we'll just touch this topic. So with two examples, one is for merge sort and quick sort, how we can calculate their complexity. Okay. And then from the next class, we will move to our different types of algorithmic technique like greedy, dynamic programming, approximation method. Okay. So those things will be started from the next to next class. Okay, so in the next class, we will just discuss complexity analysis for merge sort as quick and quick sort, because sometimes these questions are given in your exam. And if you can prepare it, you can just prepare this complexity analysis for merge sort and quick sort by yourself. Then we may directly move to the different types of designing techniques. Okay, that's up to you. It's your choice. So you will suggest me that whether I will discuss the complexity analysis of merge sort and quick sort, or I will directly move to different types of design techniques. Okay, so Okay, try to understand it by reading these books, and if you have already learned some books for this analysis, try to understand it. If you have some doubt, we may continue from here, otherwise we may go to the next section of this paper. Okay. Okay, so fine. Thank you for participation. Any query from your end? Hello?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. So I will end this session. You have next class. You may join there. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, regarding that, few students are not added